everybody, John here, and today on To The Garage I'm really excited because I have been sent a bicycle to review by DYU. Oh, that rhymes well, doesn't it? And this is their T1. I have not yet opened it, so we're going to go through the experience together. But straight off, thanks very much to DYU for entrusting me with this bicycle. Amazing. So let's see what we've got. Straight off, you can see, well packed. DYU box. We've got a multi-tool included with the bike. How cool's that? Along with some actual chrome vanadium spanners, instruction book, and there's a key, there's a warranty card, there's a throttle button. Now I'm in the UK, and for street legal e-bikes you cannot fit one of these because it enables the bike to be ridden without pedalling, which in the UK makes it an electric motorcycle. So that's okay if you're on private land, or you've got number plates and insurance and a bike helmet and indicators and all those sorts of other things. But anywhere else, that'll enable you to run the motor on the bike without pedalling at all. A couple of folding pedals and a charger with the correct 3-pin plug for the UK. Let's get into this. So that's obviously the saddle. Okay. Saddle on a suspension telescopic seat post. Just stretch the box a little. Really great packaging, guys. Look at these. Rubber bung to make sure that that doesn't damage the frame in any way. One wheel. And look at that wheel. As I said, this bike's got a few features that are really going to trigger my inner geek and the engineer in me. Now the bicycle itself, the frame, is magnesium. And I suspect these are magnesium wheels as well. They may have been plastic, I thought, when I saw the pictures, but that doesn't feel like plastic. Just lose, again, loads of great protection. No expense spared in making sure this thing arrives in good condition. Check your tyres. Please add air to your tyre according to PSI before use. 25 to 45 PSI. Take that off. Well, I can already see this is essentially fully assembled bar the front wheel, pedals and seat. So that's a little treat in itself. And now I'm just going to enter fast forward mode and get all this packaging off. Well, there we are. I've got everything out of the packaging. And for a packaging point of view, I can give this no less than 10 out of 10. And the contents is excellent. As I say, they've got a full set of decent spanners there. The little warranty card also tells me that there is a 2-year warranty on the frame, 1 year on the battery, and 2 years on the motor. There are some basic instructions for assembly in the manual, but obviously you can use me as your manual for that. And I'm going to put this together now. Let's see how easy this is to assemble. I might do a couple of jump cuts and fast forwards, but I'll let you know exactly how long it took, so you know exactly how long it takes. So I'll start my watch now. Okay, so the first thing to note is the front fork has got a travelling brace. So this is really common when bikes are delivered. This nut and bolt, this axle, is not part of the bike. It's just to make sure that nothing gets bent whilst it's in transit. So let's get that out. And usually the front mudguard is the hardest thing to assemble on a bicycle, which is very easy. Take this bolt out of the front fork. It's just loosely installed. And then just untwist the headlight. How lovely to say you've got a headlight on your bicycle. And we're going to put this back through the loop on the headlight and then back through the fork with washer on the outside. That's great. Then we get our mud guard, and this little tang here is going to go behind the forks, and the bolt goes through that loop just like so, and we put the other washer and nut on the back and do it up. Now I'd recommend doing it up very loosely, just like that, with the headlight dangling down until you've got everything in place. You've also got these little bolts down here which we need to loosen off. We've got lots of Allen keys on our new multi-tool. Let's find the right one. That one. Close this up so I don't scratch my new bike. There we go. So I'll loosen that one off. I'll just loosen the one on the other side and then take them out like so. And then these loops on the mud guard, they're going to line up with those holes, and put the bolt back with the washer into the hole, and there we are. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. It's very unusual for a front mud guard to be pre-installed on a bicycle when it's delivered, just because without the wheel in place, they're a little bit delicate and exposed and can get damaged in the packaging. So we're not looking for any tools at all to do this job. They all come with it. There we go. I'm just going to tighten it up until the headlight sort of starts to get pinched. Rotate the headlight until it's standing up nice and proud on top of the fork, and then we'll pinch it up, and that's it. Okay, so now we're ready to fit our front wheel. You get your two 16mm spanners to hand, get your wheel, undo the nuts on either end to the point where they're only just still on. There you go. So just a couple of threads on. Pull the washers that are included all the way out. Whoops. So they're next to the nut. Put the disc on the correct side, which is towards me, the side that's got the brake caliper on. And then all you've got to do is pick your frame up, sort of under your arm like so, and pop the wheel between the forks. Drop that into place. If it doesn't go on very, very easily, just check that the disc is sliding between the jaws of the caliper. It's just a slot in this that this fits in. And then tighten the wheel nuts up by hand. And then once they're snug, push down on the frame like I am, just using the crook of your arm. 1/16mm on each side of the fork, and tighten your wheel nuts up. They don't have to be mega tight, just use the length of the spanner and a good push. There we go. And that's your front wheel on. At this stage, because it's now got two wheels, we can put our stand down, which is already installed, and the bike will hold itself up. Okay, now this is a folding bike with a folding head tube or steerer tube. There's a little handle here that we just flap over. We can lift this tube, brand new, so it's a little bit stiff. Just pivot it all the way over like that, and then this catch is going to be pushed up, and there's a little red lever, sprung loaded. So let's see if I can show you that. There's a little hole in the tube there. Just push this up, and that red hook is going to go into that hole. There it is. It's gone in. If you want to get it back out, you just press the lever there and it unhooks, and then you can push that lever away and break that again. So nice system. So next we're going to install the handlebars. There's a couple of Allen bolts here on the top of the steerer tube. If we undo those using our multi-tool again, there we go. And just because we're installing the handlebar for the first time, we'll have to take these all the way out. And now we can pick our handlebars up off the ground, and we're going to position them in the steerer tube. You can see we've got a serrated section on here. That's going to go into that clamp we've just opened up. Once we're there, we can put the lid on and get our 2 bolts, start them by hand. Now we can snug them down using our multi-tool. It's good practice to make sure you have an even-ish gap front and rear, rather than clamping one all the way down and the other one being open. So it's not critical that you get it just so, but yeah, try not to make it all on one side or the other. And before you tighten it all the way up, you want to adjust this sort of angle this way of the handlebars. You can adjust it again later, but plainly you don't want it with the brake levers sticking up in the air. You want them tilted slightly down, sort of that sort of angle, I would guess. And you can adjust it later just for your preference and comfort. Okay, so the penultimate item is the saddle. Just pick that up. There's a little lever here which you want to be open. Slide the saddle in, guess your height, and then if you close the lever, it should clamp the saddle. If you find like that is, you can still turn the saddle, then unclamp. Ooh, and there's a little hand knob on this side. Tighten it 1/4 of a turn. Clamp it again. And hey presto. So you can adjust how tight that gets. Our last item to install is the pedals. This has been made very easy for you. Because you've got a red logo on this one and it says right pedal clockwise. There's a red logo with R on the right pedal, and what we do is just offer that up to the hole, turn the threaded section by hand to get it started. You don't want to cross thread these things, so don't force it. If it doesn't go in, back off and try again. There you go, it's going in nicely now. And once that's in, as far as you can take it by hand, get our 16mm spanner and give it a little nip up. Okay, it doesn't have to be seriously tight, because the natural action of pedaling will tend to tighten that anyway. The other side is exactly the same, except left-hand pedal, green label. The thread is left-handed on a left-hand pedal. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, except with left-hand pedals. If you go around to the tail light, it's not really an assembly thing, but there is a little tab here It says pull, and when you pull that, it allows the battery inside to make contact. That's just stopping it from wasting if it got energized whilst it was in the packaging. So there you are, fully assembled. Yes, I'm reasonably experienced at assembling bicycles, but I didn't have to use any of my own tools. Everything worked, everything came with it, and that took me, real life, 8 minutes. Okay, so we have a fully charged battery. That took 3.5 hours. Now the instructions say 4 to 5 hours, so allowing for there being a little bit of charge in the battery when shipped, I think we can say it's reasonably accurate. So we're going to put the battery into the port. This can be tricky, I've already discovered. This has to slide into this dovetail down here. But once you do have it lined up, that just slides down and locks into place so that you have to use the key to release it to get it back out. So let's get this bike out for a little test. Get my initial reactions. So we turn on the power over here, press and hold for at least 3 seconds. When we release, the LEDs stay on. If I do a quick, short, sharp push, that turns on the headlight. To turn this off, hold for 3 seconds. Let's just see how we go. Okay, so I'm actually in high gear on soft grass. Go up onto firm ground. Well, my first reactions, my first instincts are, that's really seamless how the power assistance cuts in. You don't really feel it come in, you just think, gosh, this is easy to pedal. And there's not a lot of motor noise, or at least not at these speeds anyway. So, very impressive. Let's just turn the power off altogether. I'm going to hold this for 3 seconds. Because some bicycles, my own included, are not so much fun to ride without the assistance on. No, but no. The T1 is light. And yeah, this rides as a bicycle, not an e-bike, really quite well. I have a very expensive folding 20-inch wheel non-e-bike. It's a Turn P60. And this puts me in mind of that, power off. It's pretty stiff. The frame, the magnesium frame, is really doing a good job. The stem, when you've got folding high-rise stems like this, they can be a little flexy and creaky, but nothing happening there at all. Very nice, very stiff. The lack of suspension means you can feel the uneven surface I'm on here. But I am on a suspended seat stem. I think that's it's a nice option to have. I don't think it makes a huge impact on ride comfort, if I'm honest. It's an option I would happily lose. Let's put the electrical assistance back on. get this out on the road and do a quick speed run. I think this is a good test of an e-bike. You're at a junction, you're in maybe slightly too high a gear, which is common on a bicycle, and you want to pull away quite swiftly. How is the assistance going to facilitate that? Is the delay going to be massive? Is it going to give no effect? Is it going to push you out into traffic in an unwanted way? So I'm in 6th gear. I'm going to push off 3, 2, 1 now. Ah, that was great. It didn't push me out in an unwanted way. It was really seamless. Changing up to top gear. See what this will do for us. I think the best way to describe this is it's a bicycle that hides the fact it's an e-bike probably better than any other I've ever tried. It doesn't look like an e-bike, it doesn't have a huge sticky out battery. It looks cool, it looks light, it is light relatively speaking, and the power assistance is just that. It makes you feel like you're a lot fitter than you are. Rather than on some bicycles, you feel like you're a bit on a motorbike. That is a cool looking bike that works incredibly well. And I would imagine it'll live up to its range claims, which is about 40 kilometers, very easily because of the way it uses its power. And I would happily ride that without the battery in. And I've never said that about any other e-bike. I'm going to do a few tests. I'm going to weave in and out of my cones or logs, which are 1.3 meters apart. Plus, I'm going to drive through a barrier which is set 0.7 meters wide, just to see how maneuverable this bike is or not. And also, you can cock your leg over easy on this, which is rather handy. And let's see just how maneuverable this T1 is. So, no problem riding it slowly or swerving through the 0.7 gap. We're crossing soft ground over the gravel. Power assistance helping out. And now I'm going to go back through the slalom the other way. Let's see how slowly we can do it this time. The delivery from this torque sensing crank is fantastic. You don't get that surge of power which can really throw you off. And back. Superb. Really, really nice. This is a manoeuvrable bike. I can see it working really well in urban environments. Okay, now we're going to see how easy it is to fold this thing down. So I'll put a timer on the screen and 3, 2, 1, let's fold the bike. So fold down the headstock. That goes down like that. The pedals can fold up like that. The frame can fold up like that. And just kick my stand away. I guess the hardest bit is just getting it to fold in two, which is mainly because it's a bit stiff, because it's new. And you could drop the seat or take the seat out. So that didn't take very long. I think we can see it's quite a nice compact package. Really hasn't got a lot of width to it. In fact, let's just take a look at the dimensions. Then the maximum width would be 44 centimeters. the maximum length would be 92 centimetres, and the maximum height would be 62 centimetres. Okay, we're just going to see how quickly this reassembles now. So here we go. First step, fold the frame back out and put that clip over. Raise the handlebars, put that clip over, drop the stand, lift the pedals, and then pop our seat back into position. Now let's see if it'll fit easily in the boot of a Freelander 2. The whole bike, including the battery, is 25 kilograms. So be careful how you lift it, but it's a genuine one-man lift, no particular problems. Freelander 2, representative of many small SUVs and crossovers. And as we can see, that's going to go in there very easily. Let's pop back into the workshop. DYU say that this bike is suitable for somebody down to 5'4". I always think that's a little subjective, so what I'd rather give you is the seat height with the seat on the lowest, and you can make your own minds up. So this seat is down as far as it will go, and that is 87 centimetres. So if you need a seat that's lower than that, start to question this bike. But I have to say, this suspension seat post they've installed does take up another 5 centimetres of height. And as a feature, it's worth having, but I could easily decide to remove that seat post, put a standard one in, and personally I wouldn't feel that I'd lost an awful lot, but you'd gain back those 5 centimetres. If you want the saddle high, then you should always raise the saddle until you find serrations on it on any bike. This is the maximum working limit, and those serrations should not be on show. So if we put the seat back in that position, then our height to the saddle is 98 centimetres. Handlebar height on this bike is not adjustable, and the handlebars are pretty straight, so you can't get any difference by rotating them. So it's worth knowing that you are looking at 108 centimetres to the top of the handlebars. So let's start to summarise the DYU T1. First and foremost, before we get into anything specific, I just want to hover around this thing of how it looks. I genuinely think this is a really good looking bike. The shape is pretty unique, and the fact that it is a magnesium die casting rather than a traditional frame does mean there are styling elements on this which couldn't exist through any other form. There is not a single weld on it, for instance. So let's start with a quick spec check. If you're buying one of these, what are you getting? You're getting a 20-inch wheeled folding e-bike that is street legal in the UK, though does come with a fun throttle if you want to use it off-road or elsewhere in the world. It is restricted to 25 kilometers an hour. It's using Shimano shifters. It's got a 7-gear cluster using reliable Shimano Tournay. 7 gears meaning a single ring at the front, but with a steel sprocket guard. Folding pedals, plastic in construction, but actually quite nice as these things go, with a really nice mechanism with a good lever there. The wheels are spokeless and appear to be a metal alloy. It comes equipped with mudguards and the rack, a suspension seat post, a gel style saddle with a little bit of relief in the middle, bolt-on ergo shaped grips with a leather style finish, a completely integrated bell, which I've got to say is a tiny thing but I really love, an integrated stand for when it's folded, a rubber foot so that it doesn't sit on the chain in your car or on the ground. And kind of for me, the star of the show is the torque sensing crank, which really changes how this bike feels and works compared to so many of its competitors. You've got cable operated disc brakes, effective and simple and unlikely to give you any trouble. The battery is well integrated into the frame. I like the design. Yes, it sticks out. Yes, you can see it, but that's a convenience thing and good for packaging. It has security here, meaning that without turning that key, you can't remove the battery. Front lights and tail lights, although the tail light is not integrated into the electric system and has batteries in. So that is independent of the bike, really. It's not really a step-through frame, but it is certainly a low crossbar frame. And if you can cock your leg over a, say, BMX bike, then you're not going to have a problem with that. It's a bike that I think will appeal to younger people and older people. It's sensible and yet cool. And there's nothing about it that says feminine or masculine. It is just a really, really good piece of design. The 10 amp hour 36 volt battery should be good for around 40 kilometers. Depends on your weight, depends on the terrain, depends on how much you're using the assistance versus pedaling. And in respect to terrain, it's got a rugged look about it and it has got very decent ground clearance. You're not going to struggle with pedal strike on this. Although this stand is below the crank, this is not low. I think we've got 100 mil of clearance. The lowest point is the derailleur system, but that is close to the wheel and we do have a derailleur guard. No real suspension, just a seat post. And the tyres are road biased, but got some tread to them. So, you know, good for crossing gravel tracks, grass, etc. I wouldn't be doing any serious off-road on it. We do have a to the garage scoring system now. And here's the quick summary of how I have marked this bike. Why wouldn't you buy this? If you want an off-road machine, don't go for this one. You're going to be slightly disappointed. If you want an absolute animal of an electric bike with masses of torque and power, probably this isn't what you're looking for. If you want an all-round cool bike, that is hard to beat. And check out the price. That's the killer. This bike is not expensive. At the time of making this video, DYU are doing deals which bring it in around £800 in the UK, but prices vary all the time and there are offers on and offers disappear as well. So just check it out using the links I've got in the description below. But whatever price, these are excellent value for money.